I know you guys have heard of the mud flood. And there you go, Grand Tutorial. But the Grand Tutorial flood is not to be confused with the Creator's flood. It's not the same flood. The Creator's flood is what shook the foundation and split the continents of the world. Because prior to the flood, everything was united into one giant continent. The foundation was shaken and the continents were separated. So it's not the same flood as the Grand Tutorial flood. That one was used to rewrite history. Keep people from their history and they're easily controlled. People seem to think that the devil is going to just show up one day and take over without realizing that him and his minions have been running the world this whole time. In the last 7 years of the 1,000 years, he comes in the flesh. And on that day, Adonai will punish the fallen angels in heaven and the proud rulers of the nations of the world because they've been working together all along. They're in the government, in finance, entertainment, in school, in music, they're in everything. Are you guys aware of the fires in Chile? It's very similar to what happened in Maui. That's how they did the mud flood. They destroy everything and rewrite history. That's what the Great Reset is about. And somebody posted this video. This took place around the same time that the fires in Maui took place. Fires throughout the world. It's no surprise to me that Yah had a flood and the enemy had a flood. And the scripture tells you that the earth is reserved for fire. But this is not the fire. This is not Yah's fire. This is their fire. And you see, their fire is all over the place at the same time. What a coincidence. Like I said, these are the writers of history. His story. And this is in Africa. It's bad enough what's happening in the Congo, but then add fires to it, right? Central and South America. And like I said, they're going to destroy it and rewrite history like they did before. They had to have the chaos in order to offer the solution. And there's other machines as well, like the HARP machine, all weather machines. And I will also play for you videos on Grand Tutorial. You see the dragon on top? This empire extended globally, and they had it erased from historical records. That was the reason behind the mud flood, to try to hide it, to bury it. But like the scripture says, the truth shall spring out of the earth.
Un gas ionizado dirigido que se encuentra naturalmente en el éter. Fuego griego, láser de plasma, bombas atómicas y otras armas tecnológicamente avanzadas. Todo esto existió en el pasado, regresando a los tiempos descritos en la Majaberate, ruinas de cristal y granito fundido. Busca tu historia, existe en alguna parte.
Holy shit, this situation just got a whole lot fucking crazier. As you can see, former Chilean President Sebastián Pinera dies in a helicopter crash at 74 just yesterday. But before we go any further, I want everybody to be aware of the situation at hand and why we're talking about Chile. This just so happens to be what majority of southern Chile looks like at this very moment, as a series of deadly wildfires that killed over 112 people ravaged through the areas of southern Chile. Now stay with me, okay, because this is the primary reason of why we're speaking about Chile and the wildfires. As you can see, thousands of homes were destroyed in flames, which swept through the hilly settlements around the resort town of Viña del Mar starting Friday, propelled by high winds. A regional state of emergency was declared and a nighttime curfew imposed. Well, ironically, the same energy institutions that just so happen to be involved with rebuilding Maui in quotations, just so happen to have their 4th LA Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, and Environment Systems, just on the 14th to the 17th of January 2024, in where? Ironically, if you look into as to why they're interested in Viña del Mar, you might see here Viña del Mar is considered Chile's top city to live in, work in, and visit, and ranks second behind only Santiago for education. And then a whole bunch of other pros for the area as well. And that doesn't seem to be the only article that seems to be talking about things like that. Now what's ironic is the company named Hitachi just so happened to have a website just a couple months ago that just so happened to be deleted that clearly stated that Maui was supposed to be the first integrated SMART island. So that's pretty interesting, and the reason why it's so damn interesting is because of this. Oh wow, you mean the SMART City Business Chile headquarters are at where? Huh. And then if you just so happen to go to their summit website, you might find things like this. And has anybody gained notice as to how many lithium mines are being built in southern Chile? I'm not laying claim to anything officially being true, but I hope I can at least connect the puzzle pieces for you a little bit easier. And In the last episode, I just so happened to speak about a certain satellite that just so happened to be above Maui the day of the wildfires. Now, once again, not laying claim to anything officially being true, but the satellite just so happens to be owned by a company named CERN. CERN, a couple years ago, just so happened to declare that they discovered the fifth force of nature, which just so happens to be something called cosmic energy. And the cosmic energy may or may not be collected via satellite. And when it is, it just so happens to be able to produce a specific beam, but you can't actually say that word openly here on TikTok. But it's ironic because I spoke about in the last video as well that there has officially been a Space Force unit created just last year, right? That is designated to defending the nation against adversary satellites that are capable of producing ground-based what? Yeah, once again, can't use that word. But gosh, that really makes you think, huh? Did you know Jeff Bezos just last year just so happened to build a SMART hub in the middle of the waters in Greece? And the main two areas that just so happen to communicate via data with the hub are Athens and Larissa. Wait, Athens and Larissa just had their worst fire seasons to date. Oh man, wait, what? It's not hard to research into these matters for yourself, people. I mean, come on. So many people rely on mainstream media and the news to paint this picture of truth for you.
The U.S. military says HAARP is merely being used to study the physical and electrical properties and behavior of the ionosphere for both civilian and defense purposes. But another theory has surfaced. The intense energy being beamed into the sky by HAARP is actually heating up the atmosphere, causing weather changes.
HAARP is being used for weather modification. The military's own record proves it. They've admitted it within their own documents, and yet they still deny it to the public.
Dr. Brooks Agnew has researched ELF wave technology for the past 30 years and is convinced HAARP's effect on the ionosphere does alter the weather.
HAARP couldn't affect the jet stream directly, but indirectly it could, because if you push the ionosphere out into space, then the stratosphere just under the ionosphere has to move to fill in that gap. When it moves, it could pull the jet stream with it, thus rerouting it hundreds of miles, changing the way water moves through our atmosphere.
HAARP is one of several ELF wave transmitters located all over the globe. The United States owns and operates 3 of them, one in Gacona, Alaska, another in Fairbanks, Alaska, and one in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Russia has one in Vasilursky near Nizhny Novgorod. The European Union has one near Tromsø in Norway. Working in tandem, these transmitters could potentially alter the weather anywhere in the world, changing the jet stream's course entirely, triggering massive rainstorms or droughts. Even hurricane steering would be possible by heating up the atmosphere and building up high-pressure domes that could deflect or change the course of hurricanes. The U.S. government is firm in its position that HAARP is just an atmospheric research facility. But is it more than coincidence that since going online, some experts have reported strange weather anomalies, including massive floods, hurricanes, and earthquakes?
was a civilization that was far superior and more sophisticated than we could ever imagine. This civilization was systematically destroyed and hidden from our history books. This civilization used atmospheric energy to obtain electricity. Having free energy meant that humanity could focus on more serious endeavors, such as creation, creativity, love, and self-development. We see these same geometric, beautiful buildings all over the world, from Africa to China to Japan to South America to Europe. These buildings show us that we lived in an interconnected culture, a culture that understood the deeper levels of existence and how to harness electromagnetic energy. History is a lie and a story built by our oppressors to continue to keep us enslaved. But we will rise again.